Good morning. I'll call the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority January 9th, 2026 meeting to order. The first item from Chairman is a presentation of the Public Works Oklahoma River Winter Projects. Jess Shumway, who's a Senior Project Manager with the Public Works Department. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Jess Shumway, Oklahoma City Public Works, and I was asked to give some information regarding the last few years of projects that we've done during the winter. This is primarily a slow throughout the year regarding maintenance for the river. And currently, one of the big ones is our SCADA system. This allows the river to be automated, handling the influx of water and keeping pull elevations at a steady or known elevation. One of the projects we have this winter is our Paul Brum Dam rehab. This is just over a $2 million project. Primarily, this is a lot of concrete repairs, painting the structure, and surface cleaning. We're also replacing the seals in the boat lock to aid in some of the appearance. Last year we did the same thing, but we did it at the May Dam, and similar repairs were made, minor structural concrete repairs, painting of the structure, and replacement of the seals. This project was just over $1.5 million. Here you can see the actual work being done. And in the background, we were also able to do actual work being done. And in the background, we were also able to do some sediment removal, although that is not seen at that time. We were able to utilize that area, and in the photo here, you'll see primarily an area just above the May Dam. That's where the bulk of the sediment was realized once the water was drained. A few of the other projects that we've done is some anchoring or an improved anchoring for some of the debris barriers. The debris barriers help in keeping debris from entering the main floodway and act as a great place for our crews to collect the debris prior to entering the main area. Previous to that, we had the Eastern Dam rehab, and there was also many other projects that were done within that basin. One of them was the Canal Zone G improvements. This was a stacked stone wall that historically had provided multiple failures. Many repairs were done to it over the years, but this gave us an opportunity to install a continuous poured concrete wall, allowing a lot better cosmetic look of it. That project was just over $800,000. Also, sediment in some other improved areas, such as the extension going into the Bricktown landing area, we were able to remove the sediment from there. We were able to do some additional shoreline improvements along Boathouse Row, and several riprap repairs, again, along that shoreline that gets a lot of attention. This was actually a photo of the Eastern Dam rehab prior to the work being performed. This repair was actually just over $1.3 million. This again gave us the opportunity in multiple concrete structural repairs, painting of the dam, and we've got that looking good now. This is a photograph of some sediment removal that was done just below the Brum Dam, in between Walker and Robinson. Our annual budget is typically $500,000, but with that, we were able to utilize some grant funds and that aided in the removal of considerably more material out of the basin, allowing the Devon cruisers to operate. Here in the Eastern Basin, we have two big tributaries that are known for introducing debris into the Oklahoma River. These were areas too that we enhanced the anchoring system, allowing that debris to be captured. Those projects were pretty small, however, they do create a huge impact on debris that we collect. We're kind of at the tail end of a 3-year run on several of the structural inspections that we've done on the dams. So for the foreseeable future, we don't anticipate having to lower the basins over the next several years. So that'll give us more opportune time to utilize the river. We have Public Works has started an in-house dredging program. This is actually a photograph of our dredge, and our crews operate that, are trying to establish that operation to be somewhat of a year-round opportunity to remove debris. One of the things that's kind of unique about this dredge is that it's independently, it's able to be independently operated throughout the basin without a cabling system. The cabling system would restrict the use of the Devon cruisers, so finding this unique piece allows us to simultaneously operate within the basins, removing the debris or removing the sediment, and also operating the boats. Some of our debris removal vessels are kind of unique. We've got a pretty aging fleet. However, hopefully within the next few years, we'll be able to acquire some additional boats that allow the debris removal to take place in the river. Right now, we capture approximately 1,600 cubic yards of debris annually. And then, again, as part of our dam maintenance, a few things that we do, we are not required to lower the basins. Here's a photograph of the cylinder replacements for the Brum Dam. And we're able to utilize cranes to reach the cylinders, and that allows us to not drain the basins in order to perform that type of work. With that, is there any questions pertaining to work being performed in the river?
The basic one is, will we be able to start our river boat cruises on April 1st?
The timeline for the project is late February, and that again kind of coincides with the use of the ferry service.
How long does it take to fill up one of the basins?
Well, the Oklahoma River is actually a floodway. We collect about 72,000 surface acres of runoff. And there's no real on and off valve to the water that's being introduced. So we can close the gates, and hopefully between the North Canadian River and surface runoff that we receive, the basins will be re-impounded.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments?
Chairman, if I could add a couple of comments. So clearly, our partnership with Public Works to help maintain the Oklahoma River is super important to the operations of the Oklahoma River cruises. Just to give a quick update, it's currently where our boats are. All right, so with the draining of the two dams, we're not able to access much of the river as it is. So what we've done, with it being an off cycle or the off season of the Oklahoma River cruises, we've removed one of our boats for the annual maintenance that we do every year. So it's currently at the Exchange Boathouse facility where we're performing the maintenance. Our other two boats are stored at the Meridian Landing, which is where we have enough water to be able to store them. So they're there. Staff, HMS staff are driving by, checking on the boats regularly during normal hours, but during off hours we have security staff that goes by and checks on the boats, because they are kind of secluded when you think about the river. They're kind of pretty far west, so we want to make sure that they're secure.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Jess. Okay, item 3 is residents to be heard. I don't think we have any today. Okay, item 4 is approval of the minutes of the November 20th, 2025 COPTA Pension Plan Committee meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item B is the minutes of the December 5th, 2025 COPTA board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Okay, it's been a long time since we haven't had a consent item on our consent docket, so we're moving on to items for individual consideration. Item A is the resolution approving the recommendation of a new committee member, Wiley Williams, to serve on the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority Pension Plan Committee.
Yes, sir. The Central Oklahoma Transportation Parking Authority Pension Plan Committee, they manage the investments for the retirement fund or the pension fund for represented staff, for COPTA staff. And so that pension committee is made up of staff members. It's made up of the COPTA administrator, the union president, and there's also an independent position on the pension plan committee. And that's usually someone that's outside of the organization, those types of things. And we've had that position, and the previous independent board member or pension member was, their time had come, and so it was time to replace that person. And so we reached out to Wiley Williams, who was a previous city councilor and retired, and he accepted the opportunity to be part of that pension plan. And so we're looking for approval to add him to our pension committee.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, I just had a light comment. Good morning. I just wanted to say that I couldn't think of anyone better than Wiley Williams to serve in this capacity. He's very knowledgeable and a fantastic individual, so look forward to him joining the group.
Super.
I should also point out that Director Pierce is also part of the pension committee.
Yeah. Okay, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item B is approval of amendment number 3, extending the term of the agreement with HMS Ferries for the operation and maintenance services of the Oklahoma River cruises, retroactive to July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2030, estimated annual cost of $953,039.88.
Yes, sir. So staff has negotiated this amendment number 3 with HMS Ferries to provide operations and maintenance services for the Oklahoma River. It also, with this amendment, we align that contract to align with our fiscal years. So this contract will now align with the July 1st through June 30th fiscal year. It also takes into account the service to the First Americans Museum landing that will be coming online with the launch of the service later this spring.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve item B? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Item passes. Item C is to approve amendment number 1 with the Peak Media LLC for media buying services to extend the term of the agreement to June 30th, 2026.
Yes, sir. This amendment also aligns that contract with our fiscal year, but Peak Media is the contractor that helps us identify media purchases. So if you think about the opportunity to buy media like on news stations, radio stations, and also help us identify good advertisements within social media. So with this amendment, we would extend that agreement with Peak Media through June 30th of 2026.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments on this item? If not, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item D is the approved change order number 4 and amendment number 2 with Cade Construction for the administration building renovations at a cost increase of $51,267.52.
The renovation of the administration building phase 1 continues. We're working toward completion, looking at probably mid-February. So if you remember, we're currently renovating half of our South May facility, and then the other half will be renovated after February. So we're currently housed in the north half of the South May facility, and then we'll move to the south half as phase 1 completes. But with this change order amendment, there are a few items in there, slightly larger amount that I wanted to identify. The first one being about $5.5 thousand for an exterior lighting circuit. So the circuits that run the parking lot lightings and the lighting circuits on the outside of the building were ran through the area in phase 1. And so as we were going through the demo process, we wanted to make sure that we maintain that circuit to keep the lighting on the outside of the building. So we had to reroute that circuit and pour back some concrete. So that makes up that lower $5,000 there. We've got an item a little over $13,000 for some exterior doors. So as we're going through that process of the renovation, we identified that the exterior doors no longer met the specifications that we needed for the building. And so this replaces those exterior aluminum metal doors that you see on the outside of our building. And then the other final main item was a little over $10,000 for roof penetrations. So we previously had roof penetrations for equipment that ran into the building. And so we, as we were removing that equipment to put in new equipment, we had those old penetrations or holes in the roof that had to be sealed back up. So that a little over $10,000 to cover all of those roof penetrations. And so we're seeking approval of the change order amendment. I would point out that Cade is our contractor, and they've been really, really fantastic to work with. They've been going above and beyond when it comes to performing the work and working with us as we also have equipment that we have to install, our IT equipment, and so working together to be able to get all of that installed so that we can easily move into that half of that building.
And you're still working on phase 1?
Still working on phase 1. We're anticipating being wrapped up probably around the end of January or the first part of February, and then probably about a week to 2 weeks to move staff.
Move into the new digs?
Yep.
For the first half?
Yep.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion to approve? Item D. Our system gets finicky. Are we going to do
We got frozen. Can we do a voice vote?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Okay, Angela moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bailey seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to ratification of claims and payroll from November 19th, 2025 through December 23rd, 2025. Are there any comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to ratify? No? Okay, we'll do this. Need a motion verbally?
So moved.
Was that Meg? And is there a second?
Second, I'm the second.
Okay. Angela? Okay, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item 8 is to receive our financial reports for schedule of revenue and expenses, budget to actual for the 4 months ending November 30th. Good morning. Okay. Christina.
Good morning. We're going to be looking at the first 5 months, which ended in November 30th of 2025. We're going to start off with our Transportation Operations Fund. So our revenues exceed our expenditures by $32,000. Our year-to-date revenues and expenses are below budget by 2%, or $500,000. Looking at our revenues, I want to start off with Embark Plus. We collected $11,000 more than what was budgeted. That's because our ridership for November was up 2.29% compared to last year. Also, something I need to point out here is the report states that the prior year actuals was $56,000. However, at the time of the November 2024 report, there was a little over $6,000 missing from that report, which we mentioned during the report out. So the actual increase is closer to $4,000 over the last fiscal year rather than the $9,000 listed here. Then moving on down to other agencies' participation, this revenue is money that we receive for our reimbursement-based programs with our community partners. We have agreements with many of them to provide services on an as-needed basis for a not-to-exceed amount. We budget up to the not-to-exceed amount in our expenses and set our revenues to match this. And so the revenues for other agencies is up $246,000 from last year. However, it is still under for our projections. So we will continue to work on those projections throughout the year. Just keep in mind, we will never collect more than what we expend for these services. So it's always going to balance. Then moving on to our expenses. So for our expenses, we are under budget in most areas. We're a little over in personnel services and supplies. And personnel services in our overall salaries, we are seeing a savings due to several vacancies. The vacancies, however, are driving our overtime cost, which is why we have a negative variance here of $680,000. But I do want to share that staff is aware of the overtime trending high, and we are looking at ways to drive that down. And then in supplies, as Jesse mentioned last month, our repair and maintenance parts are over budget, and that's due to needing to replace several of our engines on our buses. Moving on over to our parking operations, our revenue exceeds our expenditures by $332,000. Our year-to-date revenues is $2.6 million, which is below budget by 2%, or $52,000. And our year-to-date expenditures are $2.3 million, which is under budget by 7%, or $174,000. Under our revenue, our event and transient parking, you can see here that we have a negative variance of $129,000. Transient parking is causing the negative variance here. We actually have a decrease of $123,000 in transient parking from prior fiscal year, but parking validation shows a $70,000 increase over a prior year. Moving on to our expenses. Other services and fees, we are under budget because, as I mentioned in prior reports, we receive a credit from the city of $79,000 to offset expenses from our FY25 Thunder playoff games. Without that credit, our expenses for this line would be $420,000, which would put us over our projected budget $34,000, or 9%. That variance is due to all of the extra elevator work Corey's been doing in our parking garages. Moving on to river cruises, our revenue exceeds our expenses by $54,000. Our year-to-date revenues is $460,000, which exceeds budget by 3% or $14,000. And our year-to-date expenditures is $406,000, which is under budget by 1% or $2,000. Oh, I need to go back. Sorry, I clicked a little. Okay, looking at our revenues. So as we've mentioned in the last few months, we budgeted conservatively in our general fare, specialty cruises, charters, and concessions due to the fact that the river is not 100% accessible, which we just saw that presentation from Public Works. We anticipated a decrease in ridership. However, as Jesse mentioned last month, Mark's team started running public excursion trips out of Regatta Park, which has been a big success and put us ahead in all of these categories. In our expenses, in other services and fees, we are under budget $6,000. We had originally anticipated paying for our Discoveries haul out from this operating budget, but instead we ended up using our River Capital Fund, which is why we're under budget here. And then in supplies, our big saving is in fuel. We're coming under budget from what we projected. So part of that's going to be just good fuel management from Mark and his team. And part of that's just due to the way we set up our projections, which we will continue to monitor and update. Oh. Sorry. Moving on to streetcar. So our revenues exceed our expenditures by $706,000. Our year-to-date revenue is $2.8 million, which exceeds our budget by 1% or $33,000. And our year-to-date expenditures is $2.1 million, which is under budget by 22% or $591,000. So I'm not going to do a big deep dive into streetcar just because our revenues are outpacing our expenses by so much. And that's thanks to Delano and his team for managing their budget so well. The one thing I do want to point out is our overall expenses for July through November of this year is much lower compared to last year. Last year, they totaled just shy of $3 million. I know the report here shows that it's $2.5 million, but at the time of the November 2024 report, there was $450,000 missing from the report due to unrecorded operations expenses, which we mentioned during that report out. So if you take that into consideration, the total savings thus far between this year and last year is a little over $800,000, which is impressive considering this report is just for the first 5 months of the year. So that concludes my presentation. I'm welcome to take any questions or comments.
Are there any questions or comments for Christina? Good report, thank you. Okay, is there a motion to receive our financial reports? We're back up. It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Are you still on the? Yeah. Okay, motion passes. Moving on into our program reports. Our first program report presentation is our safety update. Eugene, Fritz. Good morning.
Usually not first.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year from the Safety Department. Oh, this is not working down here. So Teresa Treader, she's our bus safety specialist. She recently got certified to be a third-party examiner. So Dino Ross is also another third-party examiner that we have. So what that means is we can do CDL training or testing on site. So Byron and Tavis trained them, and then we could do the testing of the exams right there at Embark. Kind of speeds up the process. So where this helps us out, so years ago when we were using DPS, sometimes it would take us 2 to 3 weeks to schedule a trainee to get tested. So they're ready to test, but we're waiting on DPS to get them tested. So now we're able to do it almost immediately right on site. So that speeds up that process. In the past, we also, we figured out the trick with DPS. where we would go out to Hinton, which is about an hour away, to test them because there was no line there, so it was able to speed it up, but still it's an hour commute. So, and then over time, that people figured out that trick, and then that was getting busy out there. So this really helps us out a lot. So we now have 2 third-party examiners with Embark. So the Safety Oversight Technical Training. So this is required by the FTA, and what this does, what we're required to do is train ODOT and their consultants on our processes. So they're already familiar with our SOPs and our plans. This basically puts it in together, and we're basically going over the flow with our trainees, our operators, and our maintenance folks. We run them through the process, like, okay, this is what we do with the operators and the maintenance crew. So day one, this was a 2-day event. So Avery and Sharon went over the SOPs that we cover with them, and then Avery went over what she does with classroom training for the streetcar operations. And then day 2 was more on the maintenance side and with the streetcar side. So Francisco, our maintenance manager, he took him out in the yard, showed him the shop, everything that we do in the shop with the new employees. They went over pre-trip inspections. They actually went out into the alignment. They went over switches and signals, what they all do with that, with the training, and then also with the TPSSs, they did that. So that was, these are the topics. I'm just not going to read them to you. It was a 2-day event. It was really well, went really successful, and that was middle of December. Roadway Worker Protection Program. So I mentioned this, one of my meetings up here. So this came out in 2024, and we were required to get it completed by December 2nd of 2025. So Sharon did a great job with this, considering I gave it to her to do. A lot of the stuff we were doing already, so this basically formalizes what we were doing already, puts it on paper. So these are some of the things, roadway worker. So we had the roadway worker in charge. We just now have it documented. A couple of things, the good faith safety challenge we didn't have, so we added that. And redundant protections, we added that as well. A lot of our trainings had to get updated once we did this, so then Sharon did that as well. So this is a map that Ty in our marketing department created for us, specifically for this program, which we now incorporate in our track access training as well. This just makes it easier for our staff to identify where things are out in the alignment. Like the triangles are the TPSSs, the dotted lines on the alignment is where there is no wire, and then the solid lines is where there is wire. We also use this for the track access training for our contractors to make it easier for them as well. And then finally, so not only did Sharon write the roadway worker protection manual, which is it's very comprehensive manual, which she did. Then she had to train all the employees by December 2nd, and she did a great job with that. So all of the maintenance employees are trained on to be a roadway worker in charge, and also for lone workers. So the requirement is you need to have, if they're going to be a lone worker or a roadway worker in charge, they need to go through the training. So Sharon did all of that and got everybody all trained up for that. And I believe that's it. Any questions or comments?
Any questions or comments?
I had one question. So with the roadway worker protection program, I think a good example, it's not just our staff, but it's also like contractors that would have to perform work in the right of way also, right?
Technically, no. Technically, it's just our staff that's required to go through that.
Okay. Yeah, but whenever they go through the track access training and those types of things, they get some.
Oh yeah, they'll get trained up on it on safety awareness and stuff like that, on being out on the alignment, and that's where that map comes in handy. With them, it kind of makes it a quick reference guide to where the TPSSs are and the wires, the overhead wire.
Great.
I'd like to ask a question that reverts back to the financials, in which we're one of the reasons why we're over budget on personnel was overtime. And you mentioned fatigue in this article, and do you monitor the amount of overtime that?
Oh, yeah.
The-
Yeah, that's one of the things that we do with
drivers can get.
with our fatigue management. We track that both on the streetcar side and the bus side with the amount of hours that employees are working. Yep,
They can't overwork, in other words, and get fatigued.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to add a little bit more information to that. So our staff does a really good job of monitoring when, like our operators, if they're working overtime, what time they sign off for their shift, because a lot of times you may be scheduled to work until 10, but you may work some overtime and have to work till midnight, and you may be scheduled to come back in at 5 in the morning. And so our staff will monitor that, and if they work past their scheduled time to make sure that they have that relief period, we'll send out a message to staff saying, hey, this person worked till midnight. They won't make it in until 7 a.m. instead of the regularly scheduled 5 a.m. So constantly monitoring staff to make sure that, like to Eugene's point, that they're not fatigued, right? Because our staff do work quite a few hours. Yep.
Fatigue management is going to be our safety message at our next coordinates meeting. We just did that. We just filmed it yesterday.
That's good. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our next presentation is the Mobility Management Services, Marilyn.
Yeah. How's everybody doing today? Did we have a good Christmas and holiday season, nice and safe and warm and wonderful? Lots of presents. Good. Great. Well, it's wonderful to be here with you guys, starting 2026 with a bang in my division. I wanted to kind of point out to you, we go over my services all the time, so most of you are aware of what we do. But I got to thinking the other day, we're talking a lot about history of COPPA because next, 2026 is our 60th anniversary. So I was thinking about the history of mobility management, and I'm working on some dates and stuff for Jesse for a project for that. Do you realize in 2016, the only thing we did was senior transportation? In the last 10 years, we have expanded out into homeless, low-income services, having social service partnerships, supporting health and wellness, supporting diversion programs, supporting domestic violence, child welfare, youth aging out of foster care. It's been a phenomenal ride over the last 10 years, and I was telling the team in our meeting yesterday, I said, I'm really proud of you guys. It never really clicked in my head exactly how much we've grown until we started talking it through. So let's talk a little bit about ridership. This is our ridership through November. As you can see, between 2020 and 2025, we have grown 64%. So far through November, we've done about 21,000, almost 22 senior trips. Our partnerships and contracts, so this includes Palomar, Hope House, Remerge, our work with DHS and child welfare, as well as some of our grants and stuff like that. We've done 11,361 trips. And then our homeless services has provided over 13,000, almost 14,000 trips. To kind of illustrate that 64% growth, our total trips for our division in 2020 was 89,100 trips. We ended 2025 providing 139,163 trips. So it has grown tremendously. This is a really exciting new program. Jesse wanted me to kind of highlight this for you all. We started it almost a year and a half ago. So I'll be honest with you, when we first started, it's a small Arnold Family Foundation grant. We started with a partner agency, and it just wasn't working. And that's how things sometimes kind of work in the mobility world, is we will pilot something and have to do a little tweaks throughout the first year or so to make sure that everything's working, that the benefits that the citizens are getting are what we intended. And more importantly, one of the things we really try to focus on is our investment of time and funding and services actually making a difference in the outcomes? Something more than just saying, we provided 5 trips. We provided 5 trips, but those 5 trips resulted in X. And so we went back to Arnold. They have re-partnered us with a new partner to try basically a relaunch here starting in January. So now we are with the Neighborhood Services Organization Stay Housed Initiative. What this program does is provides a one-day bus pass that's accessible via QR code, or they can get a paper pass from their case manager at NSO if they don't have a cell phone or a data plan. This enables them to attend their eviction hearing. I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but attendance protects some of your rights. Attendance allows you to negotiate some of that past due rent and maybe stay in the home with the landlord. There's lots of things that happen when you don't go to your eviction. 76% of people were not going to their hearings. And so with this new relaunch, I think it's going to be a lot more effective, and we're going to be excited to come and talk to you. And the reason I say that is because the Stay Housed initiative is a little bit more of a comprehensive wraparound. And one of the things we've learned in mobility is that wraparound partnership, it really works. You know, with Climb Ride and some of the other things we've done, it really makes a difference. So here at NSO Stay Housed, they have a case manager that we can talk to, that we can help support them. The other thing that we can do is they have all of the employment programs, Curbside Chronicle, Curbside Flowers, those types of things. Something I didn't know until I met with NSO the other day was they also have a youth program. Did you know they have the little shaved ice carts? That's actually for homeless youth. And so sometimes we have to put the cart, so to speak, before the horse and put it someplace where people are going to actually eat snow cones. May not be on a bus route. And so one of the ways we're going to use this eviction mitigation is if they are homeless youth working through NSO with the Shaved Ice program, trying to stabilize and earn some money, we're also going to help them with some bus passes as well. So we're excited to see how this goes. Like it says up there, literally just relaunching in January, so I don't have any ridership numbers for you right now or how many passes we've given out. But Jesse did ask me to make sure that we mentioned this to the group. So let's talk a little bit about Embarkwell. Reminder, no cost, door-to-door, 60 and over, serves all of the MAPS wellness centers as well as all the YMCA locations and any parks locations that has senior programming available. The goal is to address the social determinants of health. When we launched back in 2019, we did a whole whopping 734 trips. And I always say thank you to Jason for that because he gave me the initial seed money to be able to pilot this program, and it has exceeded all of our expectations. This year so far, we've done almost 3,400 trips. And the next thing I want to show you is this has grown so fast that we quickly outstripped our budget. And so we have gone looking for grants. And luckily enough, we've been able to partner with the Oklahoma Mobility Institute, which is the nonprofit arm of the Oklahoma Transit Association. Serving as our fiduciary sponsor, we have gone out for foundation grants to help support this. So the Oklahoma City Community Foundation has been extremely supportive of this program. They gave us an additional $30,000 so we wouldn't have to go on a waiting list. And so I just want to share this video that they reached out and helped us make.
Oklahoma City Community Foundation funds services for older adults, enabling them to live independently in their homes. The Oklahoma Mobility Institute received a grant from the foundation to expand its partnership with Embark to provide transportation for older adults to access supportive services when they are no longer able to drive.
And so the goal of this was twofold. One, to address their need to exercise, but also to address those other social determinants of health, just getting them out and engaging in the community so they can age in place in their home.
Many seniors face transportation barriers. This grant-funded program addresses those barriers with a goal to improve overall senior health.
If you want to make a difference to improve the quality of life for our older adults, join us. Your Oklahoma City Community Foundation will help you make it happen.
Since I don't drive a car, I'm extra grateful to have that availability.
We were just really, really proud of it. They reached out to us to do the video. And so we just kind of showed up and they filmed us, but it turned out really well. We were thrilled that Jerry wanted to join us with the thing. Jerry was our very first trip on Embarkwell. He has been using it since the day we started. And it has changed his life. Jerry no longer drives. He had lost his wife and was stuck at home by himself with no family supports. You know, I'm gonna make myself cry. Through Embarkwell, he's been able to get out in the community and his entire outlook in life has changed. It's incredible. So let's talk about Climb Ride. As you all know, we have a federal budget thing. We received notice in December from DHS asking us to pause for 30 days while we were waiting for a continuing resolution. We did restart in January. We are going on a month-by-month thing here, waiting to see what happens with the federal budget and with DHS's funding. But we are still serving 100 families. Our staff is still embedded at DHS. We are still working through an expansion proposal with DHS to expand this into Cleveland and Canadian County. We are not going to let this stop us. It might be a roadblock, but we're just going to keep going. So far this year, as you can see, done 1,800 trips, July to November. Not going to be but one trip in December. We did make one trip and then we paused. So, the Transition Age Youth Program is just going phenomenally well. Almost 3,000 trips through November. This one is currently under a foundation grant with the Arnall Family Foundation. It was a 3-year grant. We have been working with Pivot quite extensively over the last 6 months because our goal is before the grant funding runs out, we will have a plan to fund this sustainably from other sources. And so we're really excited about that. We'll keep you all updated as we go through that process. Finally, our mobility partnerships. These are growing tremendously. We have been really excited to see the growth at our partner Remerge. When we first started with them, we were transporting about 15 ladies. Last week, I routed 53 ladies to their program stuff. So we're very excited to see that. Hope House is also going to be expanding soon, and we've also seen those two agencies come together as a result of their working with Embark, and they are now sharing resources to house some of the Remerge ladies that are overflowing Remerge's facility out at Hope House. And so it works out really well for everyone because we already do transportation for both of them, so they can put those ladies out at Hope House and still be able to get them to all their program stuff. And then finally, we went over this before, just a friendly reminder that we are the direct recipient of the 5310 funding stream for the urbanized area. We have done 2 federal fiscal years of grant funding. You all approved the program of projects a few months ago at a meeting. We awarded 13 vehicles, and then we have also awarded these other projects for vehicle maintenance, sidewalk access projects for some of the senior housing areas to improve the sidewalks around them. We have some operating assistance for my division to help us meet that growing demand for Embark Well. And then, of course, we're working with some agencies to put some dispatching software so they can move from paper and pencil and become more efficient. We are currently in the process of doing the federal fiscal year 2024 funding applications. In fact, we had the pre-application webinar. We had 17 agencies on that call that intend to apply. The application period closes on February 27th. We'll go through the scoring process. Sometime in the summertime, you'll see another program of projects for those awards as we go through that process. And that is all I have. I'll take questions if you have any.
Are there any questions or comments for Marilyn?
Hi, Doctor.
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Two things. One, would it be possible to receive a link to the foundation video?
Absolutely.
I'd like to be able to share that on social media. Thank you. And then I don't know the actual process for this request, but the senior mobility, or sorry, actually it's both. It's for the senior mobility, like that video, what we saw, and for the eviction work that we're doing. I would extend a formal request for a city council presentation on that work. Several of my council colleagues, whenever the topic of homelessness arises, I'm sure you all are aware, evictions come up. I'm thinking of my Ward 5 councilor colleague, for instance. I know this is on his mind. It should be on anyone's mind who actually wants to see the reduction of homelessness, and I would hope that would be all of us. So I think being able to bring to council a presentation of the work that we're doing in that partnership would be probably very informative. So I don't know, again, the process for that, but I just would love to see that item and that presentation. And then I also think, as that reminder for the senior mobility, I think showing that video to our fellow council members would be, I just think when I'm out there knocking doors, a lot of the, not just residents, but voters are seniors, and a lot of them do not know about these vital services, and I'm guessing we probably have a lot of loneliness out there.
Yes, very much so. Social isolation is one of the great things with the seniors. It's important to keep them connected to the community because that isolation impacts their health in so many ways and so quickly too. It's amazing how quickly it can happen. I mean, this is what happened to my oldest sister during COVID. She lost her husband right before the pandemic and then ended up being socially isolated. She was elderly, so she wasn't allowed to have a lot of people around her. It didn't take long for her to spiral downhill very fast. So it does happen. I want to thank you guys for supporting us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Marilyn. Okay. I guess we need to receive our program reports. Is there a motion to do that? Change. There we go. It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Then item 10 is items from the trustee. Start with James. Anything? Angela? Meg? Jason? Bailey? How about our director?
You betcha. Well, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. Going to be a great year. Looking forward to what public transit has to offer, and public transit and parking has to offer in 2026. I did want to bring two items to your attention. So a reminder that thanks to the approval of the board last month, we did start our pilot program for the free fares, Fare Free program for the OKC streetcar. That started on January 5th. We received quite a bit of media attention for that and appreciate Armando and his team making those connections, making sure that we're getting that information out to the public. Speaking of that, I wanted to share a story of why, one of the reasons why we're doing this, right, is so I have a friend, dagger to my heart, he has not ridden the streetcar yet, or hadn't ridden the streetcar yet. We've been in operation since 2018, but he did share a story because I reminded everybody that I possibly could that we are fare free. Make sure you use the streetcar every opportunity you get. He told me about his story of him and his wife. They love coming downtown. They came downtown. They ended up eating at an establishment in Midtown. They left their car there. Like, well, let's go get some ice cream in Bricktown. So they hopped on the streetcar and made it super easy, super convenient. They were able to go to Bricktown, enjoy some ice cream, and then hop back on the streetcar and took it back to their location. His experience was that the streetcar was extremely easy, extremely fast, and extremely clean. So that's exactly what we want to be able to provide, is safe and reliable public transit to everybody. And so appreciate the support for this program and being able to put that out to the community. And it's working, right? Folks are using it that previously had never used it, and that was one of the intentions of that. Next item that I had was, so if you think about our strategic plan for Embark and when it comes to public transportation and parking, if you remember, back in November of 2020, we launched our roadmap, which was our strategic planning process for Embark. It's pretty normal to update that strategic plan every 3 to 5 years. Well, we are now at the 5-year mark. And so we're in the process of updating our 5-year strategic plan for what public transportation and parking means to Central Oklahoma. So what does that mean for our board? That means that you can anticipate that we want feedback from our board to help set the vision, or not necessarily the vision, but the initiatives that we would hope to see Embark achieve for the next 5 years. So we are going to be setting up a special board meeting for the board to get together, essentially a board retreat. And we'll get together, we'll spend some time together to help set those initiatives, what you folks would like to see from Embark over the next 5 years. So right now we are holding 2 dates, February 20th and February 26th. But we'll be reaching out to you directly to help schedule those meetings. But those are the 2 dates that we're holding on our calendars right now to take a look at. We also understand that it is budget season, so time is of the essence, but we wanted to make sure that we got the board together to try to identify those initiatives, really to set the standard for what the next 5 years looks like for public transportation and parking in Central Oklahoma. That's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming today. A quick note, in the February meeting, I won't be here, so Jason will chair the meeting. Please communicate to Joyce if you're unable to attend so that we don't run into any quorum issues. So anyway, have a good rest of your January, and we will see you in March. Thank you. We're adjourned.